Welcome to another exciting edition of Best MTG Decks Ever. I'm your host, and today I have the lovely pleasure of bringing you a bunch of Moldy Bread. Let us exponentially create mold and overwhelm our opponents. Let's take a look at the deck. All right, this is what I call Moldy Bread, and we are running brand new commander, the Mycotyrant, which is an Elder Fungus. We've got one colorless, one black, one green, trample. The Mycotyrant's power and toughness are each equal to the number of creatures you control that are fungi and or saplings. At the beginning of your end step, create X 1/1 black fungus creature tokens with this creature can't block, where X is the number of times you descended this turn. And descended is you descend each time a permanent card is put into your graveyard from anywhere. So to start off, let's just go into like the main reason why we built this deck. In our primer, we basically have 3 sets of ways for us to do infinite mill. We're going to infinitely mill ourselves, but take advantage of 2 Eldrazi Titans that we're running. The reason why we run these Eldrazi Titans is when we go into our infinite mill, we get this special ability right here. When Kozilek, Butcher of Truth, is put into a graveyard from anywhere, its owner shuffles their graveyard into their library. This is going to give us the ability to keep recurring the infinite mill, putting everything in the graveyard. We run into an Eldrazi, our graveyard goes back into our library, and that will trigger the descended ability on our commander so that at the beginning of our end step, we will create, you know, a Googleplex amount of 1/1 black fungus creature tokens, which will also make our commander super big. And then we will pass turn, and if no one does a board wipe, when it's our turn, we overwhelm everybody with fungus. We have these 3 main paths to get infinite self-mill. We've got Mesmeric Orb, the Gitrog monster, and Altar of Dementia. Essentially, our goal is to get Mesmeric Orb on the board with Seeker of Skybreak or Basalt Monolith or any of these other little combos that we have on these 3 paths to winning. We do infinite self-mill, and then we keep on recurring our graveyard into our library using our Titans, and that will give us infinite mold, and then we overwhelm our opponents with Moldy Bread. There is one other little thing that we can do here, because we're not winning right away, and I know that there are some other ways that we could win right away by having infinite tokens, but we're just not going to do that. There are definitely ways in green to get haste, and we would be able to win right away, but I just wanted to have like a more fun, maybe like a limited power, so that your opponents do have 1 round to potentially get a board wipe off. Now, here's the thing. If you can get World Shaper on the board and you've got a sack outlet like Altar of Dementia, then what you can do is you can continuously mill until you have most of your lands in the graveyard. And I mean, you might do this many, many times over. This might be a discussion that you have with your table, because essentially, since you have the Eldrazi Titans, if, let's say, the last 2 cards were Eldrazi Titans, all right? You could mill your entire deck, and then when you get to the Eldrazi Titan, then you could, in response, sack World Shaper with that, and then all of your lands would come into play. But it's not very likely that your Titans are going to be the bottom 2 cards. So you could basically just keep endlessly looping this, and like say, you know, you mill 20 cards, then you get the Titan, and you only have access to 7 lands. Well, we want more lands, so we just recur it back in there, keep milling. So you could say, hey guys, you can watch me continuously mill and shuffle for the next 30 minutes until I only run into the Eldrazi Titans in like the bottom 10% of my deck. Or you could just let me pull out 90% of my lands and put them into play. Like, what do you want to do? Because if your table wants to be stubborn, yeah, just sit there and just keep milling and recurring everything into your graveyard, and just keep doing that until you have most of the lands that you want to play. Because the thing is you might lose all of your fungus on a board wipe as it comes around, and it would be really nice if after that board wipe you have like 17, 25, 30 lands in play, and then you're going to be able to do a lot of stuff. You're going to have a lot more freedom because you'll have all that mana. All right, looking back in the deck, we'll look at, so we're running tons of tutors. We've got Invasion of Ikoria. For creatures, we've got a bunch of mana dorks. Then we've got creatures that play into the 3 paths to get there. So Putrid Imp is one of the combo cards that runs with the Gitrog monster and Dakmor Salvage. We are running a few just like good cards. So like Dothy Voidwalker is just a good card that we are running. It doesn't really actually like play into our win con. The same with Orcish Bowmasters, just a good card to have. We've got Ramanop Excavator, which will allow us to just play lands from our graveyard. Been thinking about pulling this one out. Underrealm Lich is just going to play in really well with this deck because we don't really care about putting cards in the graveyard because we'll be able to recur them later on with our Eldrazi. For sorceries, we are running a ton of tutors and like one graveyard recursion. No, 2 graveyard recursions. For instance, we are running a bunch of tutors. I think every single one of them is a tutor. And for artifacts, we've got some mana rocks, we've got some of our win cons, and of course the One Ring, just because it's OP. It's the One Ring belongs in every deck the same way that Soul Ring belongs in every deck now. And for enchantments, we are running just these. Most of them are win cons, like Oblivion Crown win cons with the Gitrog monster, Life and Limb win cons with Eudora and Altar, and then we are running a bunch of lands. So that is the deck. Pretty short and simple to the point. We've got our 3 paths to victory, lots of different ways to win, lots of tutors. I've run Sims on it, and I've been able to win by turn 4 or 5 pretty reliably. It is a fair deck, though. Even though it's kind of got that oomph, that power, it's pretty fair because your opponents have a round to board wipe and prevent you from winning. So I hope you guys enjoyed the deck and have fun throwing Moldy Bread at all of your opponents. See you in the next one.